Welcome to the Conspiracy Asylum. This is DJ Schwartz. Your straitjacket and padded cell awaits.
Hello and welcome, co-conspirators, to the Conspiracy Asylum. Once again, this is DJ Schwartz, and I'm here with my lovely girlfriend, Kim.
Hi.
We are going to be discussing Jonbenet Ramsey today. It's a very interesting case, but before we get started, we're going to do a few new things this week. For one, we've got our very first promo swap. Actually, we've got two of them. We're also going to do a trivia question at the beginning of every episode from now on. And the trivia question is going to be about the subject of last week's podcast. So this week, for a sticker, you get a free sticker. I got some in the mail. I got to check the mail. I forgot to check the mail. Once I check the mail, I'm going to see if they're in there. I have been very excited. Kim has been very annoyed with how much I've been checking the mail. But, okay, so now, the trivia question this week. It has to do with Kurt Cobain, because that was our last episode. What was Kurt Cobain's imaginary friend?
What was his name?
What was his name? What was Kurt Cobain's imaginary friend's name? If you already know this, then it'll be easy. If you don't, go ahead and go look at our last podcast and you'll find it out. There's a little snippet in there where I tell you exactly who his imaginary friend is. And this week, like I said, we've got two promos that I want to play for you guys. We're going to do it at the beginning of the podcast. I was thinking about doing it at the end, but I really want to shout these guys out because they reached out to me on Twitter. Actually, one reached out to me on Twitter. The other one, actually, I reached out to all of my Twitter followers, and he ended up hitting me back. These are two very great podcasts. It's the 10-ish podcast, which is a comedy podcast with top 10 lists. I listened to two of their episodes today, and they're hilarious, guys. So let's check them out.
Hi, my name is Nick.
I'm Brandon.
We are the hosts of the 10ish podcast, where every week we cover a different top 10ish list. We cover lists such as the highest grossing films of all time, the best-selling musicians of all time, the
sexiest mogwais, the richest leprechauns,
all this and more we cover on the 10ish podcast.
I had more.
You can find us on all podcast players, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher.
Something by Samsung, a little wooden box with the dial on it.
All you gotta do is search for 10ISH podcast. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 10ishpod. And Brandon, what will we do if the listeners don't check out our podcast?
We'll cut your fucking head off.
Don't make us cut your fucking head off. Listen to the 10ish podcast. Bye.
All right, babe, what'd you think about that?
You better listen to them before they decide to cut your fucking head off.
Exactly. That's what I think. Listen to them or they're going to cut your fucking head off. All right. So our next promo, it's a more of a fictional-based podcast. I do believe this is an original story written by this guy. So it's Nick Richardson, and the podcast is You Are All Alone. Let's check it out.
Hello and welcome, listeners. This is Nick Richardson with You Are All Alone podcast. For those of you hearing us for the first time, we are a sprawling sci-fi epic following DuPaul of Mordarium as he searches for answers to questions that have plagued humanity since its inception, taking place in the Valley of Mordarium 1,100 years from the present and 1,000 years after the fall of man. We do our best to make our world as immersive and detailed as possible by posting daily fun facts on our Twitter page, alone_podcast, as well as on our Facebook and in conjunction with our website, alonepodcast.com. That's alonepodcast.com. It's filled to the brim with all episodes available for free listen and download, maps, images, facts, transcripts, and so much more. Ultimately, we want to tell a good story. And if you like the show, feel free to email us at youareallalonepodcast@gmail.com with your favorite character and why, and you'll be entered in a chance to win a custom You Are All Alone podcast t-shirt. To listen to us, catch us on iTunes, Stitcher, our website, or pretty much any other podcast catcher there is. We hope you enjoy. And once again, this was Nick Richardson with You Are All Alone podcast. We'll see y'all next time.
So, babe, what do you think about that one?
It sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, too. I tried a few of the first episodes today, and that's what I do every time we have any kind of podcast that sends us a promo. I actually want to try out the podcast and see exactly what they're doing. And he actually made me jump once or twice in the first episode because he has sound effects in the background. I'm not usually into fictional podcasts, but I was into this one, so definitely going to keep on checking that one out. That one's the Are You Alone podcast with Nick Richardson, and the other one was the 10ish podcast, 10ish, in any kind of podcast directory. Check them out. I definitely recommend them. All right, so for the trivia question, I want you guys to answer it either on Twitter, direct message, or hit me up on Facebook, or hit us up on Gmail. We've got theconspiracyasylum@gmail.com. Remember the conspiracyasylum@gmail.com. And hit us up with your answers, and whoever gets it right, it's not just one person. If everybody gets it right, everybody gets a sticker, and I'll send them out as soon as I get them. So, all right.
And what kind of sticker is it?
It's a Conspiracy Asylum sticker.
Heck yeah, it is.
It's a custom. Now, I haven't seen them yet, so I don't know if I'm going to be happy with them or not yet. If I'm not happy with them, I'm not going to send them to you guys, because I'm not going to, if they look like crap, I'm not sending them. So, but you will get stickers eventually. Now, let's jump right in to Jonbenet Ramsey. It's a very, very strange case. It's a very complicated case. There's a lot of spots that made me very angry, especially with the Ramsey family, especially after seeing this little girl's face and everything like that. She's a beautiful little girl.
Right, and being a parent, it kind of, hits home.
Exactly. We got, between the two of us, we've got 4 kids. I got 2 step kids. I got 2 biological kids, and the same thing with her, vice versa. So, and we've got 2 girls and 2 boys. So this thing really hit home hard. Back when I was a kid, I barely remember it. I barely remember it. You probably...
I remember it. She's the same age as me, and I do remember it.
I barely remember it. I was probably about 7 or 8 when this happened. She was around my age, too. Not that much older, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, you're old as dirt.
Fucking 30.
Yeah.
But, okay. So, let's jump right into Jonbenet Ramsey. Alright, we're going to do a little background on the whole family, and then we'll get into the actual timeline of events and everything like that. Alright, I got notes today, guys. You hear that?
That was annoying as fuck. Put it down.
Those are notes. I got thick notes. I've been bothering the shit out of Kim this week with these fucking notes. But, here we go. Alright, Jonbenet Ramsey.
Oh my god, you're loud.
Jonbenet Ramsey.
Wake the kids.
Jonbenet Ramsey.
Jonbenet.
Jonbenet was born in Atlanta, Georgia, August 6, 1990, to Jonbenet Ramsey and Patricia Ann Ramsey. All right, I'm going to stop.
You're going to wake the kids. I'm going to have to beat you.
Okay. Her name is actually a combination of her dad's first and middle name with a French-sounding accent to it, which in my opinion, that's the most douchebaggest move you could ever make in your fucking life. I would never name my daughter Dunijon, because that would be Donald John in French. Dijon. Dijon. I've had people call me Dijon.
Oh my god. No.
Oui, oui. Jonbenet. Jonbenet was infamously involved in beauty pageants. She won Little Miss Colorado, Little Colorado All-Star Kids Cover Girl, America's Royal Miss Nation Tiny Miss Beauty,
Royal Miss National Tiny Miss Beauty,
America's Royal Miss National Tiny Miss Beauty, along with several other titles. I only listed the big ones on here, apparently. She was going crazy with it. She seems like a very happy child with a well-to-do family. We'll get into how much they were actually worth. They're very, very rich, especially for 1996. And then, of course, she died December 26th, the day after Christmas, 1996. And the reason that this story got so big is because this was at the beginning of the 24-hour news cycle. So it was a new thing for CNN. CNN was brand new. And they had to find things to fill the void. And that's why JonBenet wasn't famous or anything. Her family was not famous. This would have never been this big of a case if it didn't happen when it happened. It happened at a time when there wasn't that much news. They were usually covering Christmas shit, and that's about it. So, all right. So, we're going to get into Patsy Ramsey. Patsy was born December 29th, 1956 in Gilbert, West Virginia to parents Nedra Ellen Ann and Donald Ray Powell. 1975, she graduated from Parkersburg High in West Virginia. Went to West Virginia University she graduated in 1978 with a degree in journalism. She won Miss West Virginia that very same year, so she was involved in beauty pageants too. I don't know about her at a young age, but she was in the Miss America pageant and stuff like that, obviously, because she was Miss West Virginia. Now, how pretty you have to be Miss West Virginia, who the fuck knows?
That's debatable.
Nothing against West Virginia, but we live in Minnesota. We got beautiful bitches.
Thank you.
In 1980, her sister Pamela won Miss South Charleston. Now, Miss South Charleston is a city, correct?
It's a chew, too.
It's a type of chew. So she was the queen of chew in the South. So she's a popular-ass lady. But they were a very good-looking family, I will say that. I'm not trying to rag on anybody from the South or anything like that, but you're going to hear that a lot. Anything south of the Mason-Dixon line, you might get fucking offended. Like I said, plenty of other good podcasts out there. Last Podcast on the Left is a good one. You can go check that one out. Or Generation Y. It's a very good podcast. If you do not like this one, fucking suck it. On November 5th, 1980, she married John Ramsey at the age of 23. On January 27th, 1987, she had Burke the Devil Child Ramsey.
Oh my God.
And of course, August 6th, 1990, she had Jonbenet Ramsey. She died June 24th, 2006 of ovarian cancer. Burn in hell, bitch.
Alright, next we have John Ramsey. John Ramsey was born December 7th of 1943 in Lincoln, Nebraska to his parents Mary Jane and James Dudley. His father was a World War II pilot. He joined the Navy in 1966 as a civil engineer, served 3 years in the Philippines and 8 in the Atlanta Reserve Unit. In 1966, he married Lucinda Pash, in which he had 3 kids with John Ramsey Jr., Elizabeth Ramsey, whom died in 1992 in a car crash, and Melinda Ramsey. In 1978, they happened to divorce. Not even 2 years later, so 1980, he decided to marry Patsy.
Which he was 14 years her senior.
Yeah, he's old.
He was 14 years older, and he ended up churning out 2 more fucking kids. This guy's a bull.
Oh my God.
Go on.
Well, imagine, she was 23 years old when she married him, and he's how old? How much older? Yeah, he's probably pushing 40.
When Jonbenet was born, I think he was 50.
Yeah.
Well, because he was born in 43, so that means in 96 he would have been 53.
Yeah, that's pretty old.
So, yeah. Well, when Jonbenet was born, I guess he would have been 47.
In 1989, he formed Advanced Product Group software company. In 1990, he merged with other companies to form Access Graphics. In 1996, his company grossed $1 billion. He was named Engineer of the Year by Boulder, Colorado, and his net worth is a whopping $6.5 million. And mind you, this is grossed back in, 1996?